Hi guys, since this 9th August, it's Singapore's National Day celebration, and on top of that, July was such a crazy, blazing hot month. I thought I'll take you on a photo walk in one of Singapore's more iconic, quaint neighborhood in the Tiong Bahru area, and also talk through about shooting in very harsh sunlight conditions on a Fujifilm and the recipe that I used. Let's go. Welcome back to another video. My name is Nicole. I'm a photographer, videographer, and I create content on social media. And today, we're going to explore a little neighborhood in Tiong Bahru. Now, this area is very unique because the buildings in this particular area in Tiong Bahru are very old. They're like one of the first few HDB or public housing buildings built in the very beginning. Apparently, these buildings were built in the 1920s, 1930s. I feel like when I walk past certain houses and peek into it, these people look like they have been living there since day one. These are known to be like pre-war buildings. So apparently these buildings have been designated for conservation because of just how unique they are and how old they are. There are a lot of like new hipster cafes and places to eat and like a hawker center, but also there used to be a lot more really like old school shops that were from the previous generation of shop owners, but a lot of them have sold off their shops, so they're a lot lesser now. But the Tiong Bahru market is still very much like the heartbeat of this whole area, and a lot of the vendors have been there for a really long time. Usually I travel with a much lighter lens, but because I just finished work, I had this zoom lens with me, and I thought this would be a great opportunity to actually try street photography with a much more flexible lens that I don't usually get to use. So this zoom lens is actually a 16mm to 80mm f4 lens. The Fujifilm XT5 is a crop sensor of 1.5, so this lens is equivalent to a 24mm to 120mm zoom lens. So I'm going to walk you through how I decided to shoot in very harsh sunlight on my Fujifilm without an ND filter. So this Fujifilm recipe I have decided to call Sunnies and Cream. I mentioned like the Singapore sun in July in particular, I feel like it's getting a bit softer, fingers crossed, but the sunlight is super harsh and super bright like for majority of the day. From like I think 10 all the way until 5, it's really bright and really harsh and hot. The Fujifilm camera, I feel like when I first got to use it and I went out to shoot in Singapore's very bright sunlight, I was not used to its dynamic range. I think compared to other cameras, maybe it doesn't look like it has that good of a range when I'm shooting it and looking at it on my screen. So a lot of these images are straight out of the camera, and yes, you can actually further edit like I did in this image. You can push up the shadows more, bring down the highlights, and just increase the contrast just to balance the image a bit more. But I found that straight out of the camera, I was really happy with the photos, and I just needed to adjust the kind of maybe the exposure a little bit, or like the straightening and cropping, which I like to do because I just need to get my photos straight and cropped, sometimes a little bit of crop. So I think one of the trick to exposing the Fujifilm photos correctly in this super harsh sunlight is really to underexpose. So what I do is I tend to expose for the highlights first. That is my priority, because if you expose it like in general, if you have highlights that are too blown out, you can't recover them back. But if you underexpose, you can kind of recover those really dark shadowy parts by increasing the brightness or the exposure in post-production. Whilst the other way, you know, if it's completely blown out, if it's white, there's basically no information there, so the camera or the post-processing software cannot recover anything. It's basically just white pixels. So I suspect that the Fujifilm screen is actually not very bright, so when you shoot it in a very bright setting, you tend to feel like your photos are so dark and you can hardly see anything at all. If you just know that that is how it behaves and you underexpose it and really focus on exposing the highlights correctly, then that is what I found to be useful and helpful in shooting in super harsh contrasty sunlight on the Fujifilm. If you guys have any other tips to share about shooting in super high contrast bright noon sunlight, do drop them in the comments below. And I hope you liked this video. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more of these sort of street photography videos, that creative, introvert life, remember to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.